Hello everyone, Surfing Pikachu here, back with another Boomsday Project card review. This time, I'm doing all the Shaman cards. First up, 2 mana 2/2, Menacing Nimbus. Battlecry add a random elemental to your hand. So, this by itself is a pretty good card. It's a 2 mana 2/2, which isn't awful for its stats, and it gives you a random elemental, which is okay. There's some low rolls like Magma Rager, um, Cauldron Elemental, I can't really think of that many, but there are some low rolls. The high rolls aren't even that good, honestly. At least in standard, there's Calamos, which is pretty good, but he's kind of expensive. The thing is, Elemental Shaman just never has worked in the past, so I don't think this will be enough to make the deck work. It might see some play just because it's a decent minion, but the deck it should work in probably won't be good anyway. Next, Secret Lightning. 0 mana, deal 1 damage to all minions, overload 2. So, this is Whirlwind for some reason. And the overload 2 is kind of weird. It might be nice against Odd Paladin, but I don't really get why they made this. Like, Shaman doesn't get any synergies with dealing damage to their own minions, except for Acolyte of Pain, which is a neutral minion, and Gurubashi, Berserker, also a neutral minion. But otherwise, this might just be okay as a board clear, because it's also 0 mana, which is real nice. Like, the overload matters next turn, but it doesn't matter the turn you play it, so it's basically free. So, I don't know, it just kind of, it might be nice as a board clear, but I don't think it'll see play. Next up, Elementary Reaction. 2 mana, draw a card, copy it if you played an elemental last turn. I mean, there are good elemental 1-drops, which is mostly just Firefly, actually. That's the only real elemental 1-drop. So, if you can play Firefly and then play that's pretty good. The thing is, if you don't copy it, it's just 2 mana, draw a card, which is okay, but it's not good. It's like below average, which isn't good. So I don't think it will see play. Next up, Eureka. 6 mana, summon a copy of a random minion from your hand. So immediately the thought goes to Malygos Shaman, which does used to see play in Wild. Now it's just kind of outclassed by Malygos Druid. But like in standard, this would be pretty nice. Like 6 mana, summon a Malygos, that's fine. Otherwise, it's kind of like it will help Malygos Shaman, but that hasn't been a deck for a while, so I don't know. I'm saying that a lot. Like, mostly because these cards are kind of like interesting, but not very, don't seem that good, but they might see play. Next up, Voltaic Burst. 1 mana, summon 2 1/1 Sparks with Rush, overload 1. So it's the Sparks are 1 mana 1/1s that are elementals, which is somewhat relevant because there's the elemental buff in Shaman. And they have Rush, which is really nice. You can combo this with like Flame Tongue Totem or Dire Wolf and make it not direct damage, help clear the board and gain board control. And it just compared to like Lost in the Jungle, they have Rush, which is actually pretty worth it. So yeah, especially just because it's overload 1, which isn't that big of a drawback. Next up, Storm Tracer. 4 mana, 3/4. Battlecry, draw a spell from your deck that costs 5 or more. So this tutors the Volcano, Bloodlust, the Spellstone, and also the new legendary spell, which I'll get to. So yeah, this might be nice, especially since if you just look at it as a 4 mana 3/4 draw, would that see play? And if you think of it that way, yeah, it definitely would see play. So this is pretty good. Next up, Thunderhead. 4 mana 3/5. After you play a card with Overload, summon 2 1/1 Sparks with Rush. So this is great Overload synergy. Like you gain some tempo for losing the tempo next turn. No, not tempo. Like you lose resources next turn. Like, which was one of the reasons Tunnel Trog was so good. This has the exact same, basically, because you get two stats basically for every overload card you play. So yeah, that's pretty good. Next up, Omega Mind. 2 mana, 2/3. Outcry, if you have 10 mana crystals, your spells have lifesteal this turn. So a 2 mana 2/3 is okay. The real big part of this minion is the 10 mana crystals thing. So if you look at Halazeal, that saw some play in like Control Shaman because it was great with you combo with a board clear to gain a bunch of life. This is the same, and you can play this on turn 10 plus a volcano to get at least 3 life. You're probably not gonna play that in volcano if it's just the only minion on board, but yeah, that's it's pretty good. 2 mana 2/3 is defined. It contests early boards, so it might see play in like Control Shaman if that becomes a thing again. Next up, Electra Storm Surge. 3 mana 3/3 elemental. Outcry, your next spell this turn cast twice. So people thought of a lot of like good cards that go with this. There's Volcano, there's Bloodlust. Not the legendary spell actually doesn't synergize with this. There are a ton of just good spells, like even Lava Burst, like that just made 3 mana deal 10 damage. It becomes a Pyroblast for 6 mana, which is pretty good. So yeah, this might see play in like Token Shaman or like Aggro Shaman. Depends on if those become good decks again. Also, it might even just see play in Control Shaman or like Shudderwalk or Hagatha Shaman. Like even Shaman, just because it's, well, not even Shaman because it's a 3 mana, but like Shudderwalk Shaman just because it combos so well with Volcano. And lastly, the legendary spell, Stormbringer. 7 mana, transform your minions into random legendary minions. So, I mean, the average result of a legendary minion isn't terrible. If you're like playing this in like Token Shaman, usually you just have a board of either totems or 1/1s, and most legendaries are better than tokens or 1/1s. The biggest problem is the outliers like Lorewalker Cho, Nat Pagel, Chameleos. Like those really small minions are really like bad minions that really don't help you. So yeah, I mean, the average result of this is fine. The biggest problem with this is definitely the 7 mana cost. If you compare this to like Evolve is 1 mana and you can have multiple copies. This is 7 mana and you can only have 1 copy of it. So if you low roll, you just kind of screwed your board over. So will it see play? I mean, Token Shaman hasn't been a thing since Angoro really. No, it saw some play in Knights of the Frozen Throne, but that was eh. So yeah, I don't think this will see play. And that's it for all the Shaman spells. I mean, Shaman cards. Next up is Warlock. See you next time.